Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on EM enclosures. Today we're going to be doing a more in-depth tour on all of the animals so you can see exactly what they look like, and we're also going to be feeding some of them. So let's just get right into it. Now in this tank we have my albino corn snake, my reverse Okati corn snake. As you can see, there is a new shed. So let me carefully remove that. Sorry for shaking the camera. We'll take a look at the shed in a moment. But let me just find where she's at. There she is. Now I'm gonna pull her out so you can get a closer look. Now here is Missy is her name. This is my reverse Okati albino corn snake. She is about, I would say about maybe 6 months old. Doing very well. As you can see, she just shed. She has a very bright, vibrant orange color along with the pinky undertones. She's doing very well. Get my face out of there so you can see. But yeah, this is the first snake. Now I'm gonna move on to the next snake. Now in this tank is my second and last snake that I own. And it is, if I can get these clips off, it is my common ball python. Sitting right here. Now she is also just a juvenile. I would say about 7 months also. Was doing well on food, but past 2 weeks has been off of food. But if you don't know about ball pythons, they do go off of food for long periods of time. So I'm not too worried about it. She's still looking very healthy, and for a common ball python, I think she's very beautiful. And yeah, I don't have a name for this one, so if you have any name suggestions, please leave them in the comments. But now we can move on away from the snakes and on to the geckos. Oh, I actually almost forgot that I was going to show you guys Missy's shed. She shed very well, like she always does. To add to the collection, I come on over here. I have previous sheds, and as you can see, there is growth. Pretty sure I put this one in the wrong spot. So, yeah, she's doing pretty good. She's healthy, shedding very well, not coming off in pieces. Now, next up is a fairly new gecko to the collection. Is our African fat-tailed gecko. This is the enclosure that it lives in. I'm gonna pull it out right now and show you guys. This is our African fat-tailed gecko. Her name is Fatty because of the name African fat tail. She's one of the cutest reptiles I think that we own. I used to think that they're very similar, almost identical to leopard geckos, but now that I own one, I realize that they're drastically different, even though they have slightly similar tails. It is shorter. They have a totally different feel to their scales or their skin, and yeah, they're just little chubby little guys. Now, I am going to try to feed this gecko, so I'm gonna get this all set up and show you guys a feeding. So I'm gonna be feeding the fat tail on top of the ball python tank because that just seems like the best surface to do this all on. Oops. See if she's interested. Does not seem like she's interested in food at all. Here. Here you go. You don't want it? Well, I guess that was a fail. But still cute nonetheless. And that was the African fat tail. Moving on to the next gecko. Now, here I have my crested gecko. His name is Maury. And he's just a harlequin, normal harlequin. I used to think he was a tricolor, but I don't think he is. Just your average crested gecko. Um, very orange. I like him. He just runs around, jumps on your hand. He'll chill out with me once in a while. But I'm gonna see if I can get him to eat. I don't think any. Don't really think any of my geckos are going to be too hungry right now because it is daytime and mostly all of these guys are nocturnal, so I have to wake all these guys up. So they don't seem too hungry, but still get to show you guys my little crested gecko. And we'll move on to the next gecko. So here is the first leopard gecko I'm going to be showing you guys. And is actually not only the first leopard gecko I got, but my first reptile out of all of this collection that I own. My first actual reptile that I ever owned was also a leopard gecko. It was a blizzard, so it was all white. This right here is a super snow. His name's Blossom. His name is that because we did think that he was a girl when we first got him, but we got him as a very like a small baby, so we couldn't really tell. And he's going to be hopefully the father of some Max Snow babies, het for Super Snow, and then hopefully eventually in the future we will produce some very nice Super Snow babies. As you can see, he has very nice dark patterns. A lot of his patterning actually connects. So hopefully we can get some very nice dark babies in the future from him. So there's Blossom right there. and we're gonna try feeding him real quick. Okay, here we have Blossom, ready to hopefully take a mealworm. I will have you guys know if he is interested in this mealworm at all. He is pretty bad at catching the mealworms, as you saw there. He he has a he has a hard time with depth perception, as you can see. Come on, get it. There you go. So, as you can see, that took a while. But we still love him anyways. See if he would want another one. What was that face for? You not feeling another one? Oh, I just dropped the mealworm on the floor. Okay. Oh, whoa, where are you going, buddy? So there's Blossom. I'm gonna get him back in his tank and I'll grab the next leopard gecko. Next here we have Spaz, our second leopard gecko. She's a female. And I got this from some guy that did not take care of her well and actually thought that she was a male. So I thought for the longest time she was a male because I never really checked. Then come to find out, she's a female. And she actually laid two infertile clutches of eggs. And she was like really skinny after those clutches, so we fattened her up. As you can see, she is looking pretty healthy now. Nice plump tail. I do believe that she is a cipher morph, Cipher. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but hopefully, eventually, we can find a nice male for her, because I don't really want to breed the super snow with her, because that'll just most likely give me random wild type geckos. So hopefully we find a male for her for the next season. But let's see if she wants to eat. Let's put her onto the thing. Whoa. He almost ran off. Right here. Go for it. There you go. She has no problem catching those mealworms. And then she skedaddles off for some reason. I have another mealworm for you if you want it. No? Looks like everyone's just taking one. He's going crazy right now. Well, that was Spaz. I want to put her back, and I'll grab the next female leopard. Next here we have our Max Snow female. As you can see, she has some stuck shed on her nose. I've been really trying to get it off. I've given her baths. She has a humidity hide and everything. But it just hasn't come off. It looks like she's starting to go into shed soon, so I'm hoping that her next shed does just peel that off with it and causing no problems, but we can only hope for the best. Um, but she seems to be doing fine. She does really well with food. Normally I just throw her mealworms in a mealworm dish, so I don't know how she's gonna do with the tongs or whatnot. There we go. She got it. Now this one's name is Bumble, if I haven't already said. She's just a normal Max Snow, I think. I got it from local pet store. And she will hopefully be the mother to Blossom's clutches. So there's Bumble, and I'll pull out the fourth and final leopard gecko to show you guys. Now, last but not least, we have my albino female. This is Lemon here. She's a nice albino female leopard gecko. She is the same age as Bumble, but seems to be significantly smaller by about like 10 grams. So, and I've been really trying to put weight on her, so I don't really think she's going to be ready for the 2024 season. But by the 2025 season, she will be hopefully breeding with Blossom, and we will have some albino Max Snows, and we can get some albino Super Snows, some really fun stuff. So I'm excited for that. But for now, let's just try to offer her a mealworm and see if she'll take it. Oh, and there she goes. Licking her chops. Now that was Lemon, and that concludes all of the leopard geckos. And now let's get into the final geckos of the animal room. Now, if you watched the previous video, you would have seen the new reptiles that I got at the expo that I went to. Two of them being these frogs, but we'll get into those after. The geckos and the last geckos of the animal room are in here, and they are my morning geckos. Now, the morning geckos I talked a lot about in the previous video, so make sure you go check that out. But these are the last geckos of the room. They're in this tub that I got from Target, and I'll try to pull one out for you guys. I pulled one out in the previous video. Oh, here's one. And here we go. Just fell on the floor. Okay. Now these geckos are insanely quick, and they're so small. So you don't really want to handle them too much. People don't really recommend handling these geckos. But I want to try to form some sort of relationship with these little geckos, because even though they're small, they're fast, they're still fascinating. And I feel like they're a lot smarter than people think of them as. They think of them almost as a bug. These geckos are commonly used as feeder geckos or feeder lizards for bigger reptiles and things like that. And it just splatted on the floor. Now, I found the best way to keep these geckos under control is if you cup it in your hand and leave no space for it to go, but there's still a hole. As you can see, its tail is sitting right there. It's going to spin around, sitting right here. So you can control them if you know how to deal with their agility and how fast they are and everything. And this guy will not stop jumping onto the floor. So I'm gonna get this little guy back. But there is the morning geckos. Now that we got that crazy little gecko back in its enclosure, we can move on from the geckos. So those geckos, as you can see, they are sitting in that enclosure for now. That's just temporary. They will be getting a tank this size that my gray tree frog is sitting in, as you can see right there. This is a 12 by 12 by 18. So they will be getting a tank that size. I'm going to be doing fully bioactive setup for that, so stay tuned for a video about that. But next, we're going to move on to the frogs. Now, the first frog that I'm going to try to feed is the tomato frog. Now, I will have you guys know or just be warned that he may not eat because I have been having slightly hard time getting this guy to eat, but that does not mean that we can't try. Now we're going to be feeding this guy waxworms because he is a little bit smaller. Oh, come on, buddy. Eat it. Yeah. He doesn't seem to like taking worms and stuff from tongs. I've only actually fed him a one worm from tongs, and I fed him a cricket from tongs. But everything else that he's eaten has been just crickets that I put in the tub, and he just found them and ate them. But next is a guy that I know will eat. There's actually a little cricket sitting in there right now, but I have a feeling that he'll eat. This is our albino Pac-Man frog, strawberry Pac-Man frog, and see if he wants. Oh, there he goes. And he takes the mealworm. Doing really well. He's been eating a lot. Seems very healthy. They make the tubs very disgusting. I just cleaned these out less than 2 days ago. So I'll have to clean those out again soon. But now we will move on to the next animal to feed. Now this is my gray tree frog. If you watched my very first video, I would have talked a little bit about her and how I got her and everything. She's been kind of weary with her food. She did eat yesterday, which was very surprising because she was off of food for almost 2 weeks. So, yeah, I don't think she's gonna eat. Normally, she pounces on it if she's hungry, but that's alright. We'll just leave her, and we can actually come back over to Mori. See him right there. And we'll try to give him a worm, even though we already tried. We tried out of the enclosure. Let's try it inside. You want this worm? Oh, I just dropped it. This worm is getting away. It's gone forever. The mealworm that got away. Well, I guess now we can move on to, I think, the last reptile in this room. So, he is very feisty, or fairly feisty, I should say. He's been toning down a little bit. But we're going to try to feed him here. I'm going to take him out real quick and I'll be right back with him. Okay, so I managed to grab him. This is Zeno, my red leatherback bearded dragon. Now, he's gained some very nice size since we got him. We got him and he was like just very small. But the problem is, he's always upset. Look. Oh, he didn't open. Oh, there it is. Look at him. He is so upset all the time. I don't understand why. His enclosure is plenty big enough. I know that the two things that bearded dragons are most commonly pissed off about would be too small of an enclosure or not warm enough or whatever. But everything is perfectly fine. He is a very, very small little bearded dragon living in a 55-gallon, which he's actually going to be getting a upgrade, which is technically a downgrade because it is less gallons, but it is more floor space. We're going to be switching the ball python and the bearded dragon's tanks around so that Zeno here gets a little bit more space, because the tank that he's in right now is only about a foot wide, but it's 4 feet long. But the new tank that he'll be going in is 2 feet wide and like 3 feet long, almost 3.5. So he'll be getting more surface area. We'll be setting it up. He'll have way more room to roam, because right now his tank is pretty bare because there's not a lot you can do with just 1 foot of space. So he'll be getting, in his eyes, an upgrade, and the ball python will be getting an upgrade. So stay tuned for both of those videos. And we're gonna try feeding this guy right now. Now here's Zeno. I'm gonna drop a mealworm for him. Make sure he sees the mealworm. Should probably use tongs because he does not like my fingers. Get it? He just licked it. Stop licking it. There you go. Such a strange little guy. Look at him. get you another one. I'll just drop a whole bunch. Have a little feeding frenzy. Do you not see the other? There you go. His colors are coming in very nicely. As you can see, he's actually red. If you follow me on Instagram, I took a picture about around when I got him, and he was not nearly as vibrant as he is now. I'll do one more. He would eat this whole entire container of them if I would let him. Drop that one right there. Hopefully he sees it. He's looking at the camera. You need to look at the mealworm, sir. Eat the mealworm. There he goes. Now that'll be the final one for now. He will get more food later. Alright everybody, so that concludes the video, showing off everybody in the reptile room, all of my reptiles, and feeding most of them. Stay tuned for the videos to come. I have lots planned just to give you guys some things to be excited for. We have the bioactive morning gecko enclosure coming up. We also have switching the bearded dragon and ball python, so you'll get a fully bioactive ball python enclosure. And I'm thinking about going bioactive for the bearded dragon. I'm not fully positive yet, but definitely for the ball python. And we also have the 3-foot tall terrarium that I still have no clue what reptile is going to go in there. So if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. I'll leave links to my Instagram, TikTok, Morph Market, stuff like that in the description. I'm sorry this video was pretty long, but stay tuned for my future videos and subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff, and thanks.